Number 2. That's okay. You don't need to know who Andy is. Number 2 is 9, negative 2, negative 1, 4, 9, negative 7, 0, 7. Number 4 is somewhere. Where is it? There it is. There it is. Number 4. Looks like that. They flip the camera around.
Wait, do we have to have the dotted line in it?
No, but it does help you see things. I don't think it asks for that. Number 6 is this one.
I just thought it was wrong because it looks.
Oops.
I just thought it was wrong.
Number 6 is there. Number 8, yes. Number 10, no. Number 12 is 7, 7, 9, 4, negative 7, 3. 14 is 3, 4, negative 4, negative 4, negative 5, negative 3, 2, 5. 16, let me flip the page. $16 is that.
Oh, too close.
There's even more.
Perfect.
That's
Oh, wait.
perfect.
I know it's
Cool. So, all of them.
Oh, I forgot to grab it. I did all the work, I just forgot to grab that one.
So you did?
Huh. Wait, what? Where am I
18. 20. 22.
Oh my gosh. That was crazy.
I did 22. I don't know. I don't
Did you get it right?
24.
I don't think I got it wrong.
It's kind of one or the other. But 26.
Is there another loop in there? Does it just like.
No, there's 2. It's they're labeled which one's which. So, you know.
It's so weird.
28.
I don't like the ones that overlap like that. They're annoying.
They just annoy you for no reason.
I,
Good for you.
30 is no. 32, yes. 34, yes. 36, no. 38, no. What questions do we have, kids?
14.
The weird.
14.
And then 22, please.
I didn't like 14. It made me mad.
What is difficult about 14? What is the actual question?
I don't know, I just didn't like how it set up and I got it wrong.
Did you get 12 right?
No. I was just saying for either.
Okay, so okay. Sorry, I had to track down what the actual issue was, whether it was something with 14 or whether you just don't understand how that, they're easy. You ready? Okay. What is an inverse?
The opposite of the function.
Opposite is not really the best word choice.
The negative square root of the function.
No.
Or the negative
No.
square.
When the f has the negative and it's followed with a square and then.
Okay, so that's the symbol for inverse, but that's not what it is. What is an inverse function?
Where f of a is equal to b, and the inverse of b is equal to.
Yeah, in plain English. That's the first correct thing that's been said.
Also,
It's where every member of the domain is switched with every member of the range. The domain and range flip. That's what an inverse function is. Right? So, to do 14, you just switch the x's and the y's. Same with 12, same with 2.
That's it?
That's it.
That's all
It's so
you
much
do?
easier than I thought.
That's it.
That's so easy.
I graphed those questions on accident.
Well, there you go.
Wait,
Graphic practice. You just switch everything?
so the answer of 14 is 3, 4,
I-
negative 4, negative
Boys and girls. Turn to page 393. Just do it real quick. Look at the key concept, inverse relations, and look at the little example that they give. You can use the book. It's allowed.
I just looked at the side of the book, like where it has the examples and didn't think the first page.
Okay, so we've learned something important today.
Yeah.
All the little, this book is honestly pretty good. Like the like lesson part of the book is pretty good and often pretty helpful. You don't have to read it all, but if you get stuck on a problem, you know, you could. Also, flip back to page 397. Did y'all flip back to page 397?
Yes.
What do you see in green to the left of 11 through 14?
Example 4.
Example 1.
Example 1. So it even tells you what example goes with these problems.
No way.
You know, I don't know how we're just getting, I mean, you are homeschooled, so I guess it makes sense. But most of you have had my classes before, so it makes less sense. I don't know how we're like in Algebra 2 and are not quite understanding how math books work, but I'm glad we could fill a weird hole. I'm glad we're filling in the gaps a little.
Great.
Use a math book until you're
Maybe I
class.
should use mine.
Like the 4th grade.
See, here's the other cool thing. When you go to college and you have to take a math class and you have to cry about it a little bit, those math books pretty much work the same way. Wow. Anyway, now that we spent an hour and a half on the easiest problem in the homework set, what can we do now? 22 sounds grand. Let's do it. Find the inverse of f of x equals 1/2 x squared minus 1. So, what should we do? I feel like y'all are making these much more difficult than they should be, is my guess.
We set x
Put the
equal.
X over here and change it out to the Y.
Great. X equals 1/2 y squared minus 1.
Add 1.
Add 1, which would be the first step in solving for
I
x.
was so sad you
I mean,
made
why?
a mistake in the video. I wanted to correct you badly.
I
You did
see.
it.
Okay.
I wrote it down in my notes too.
Multiply
Nice.
both sides.
Mentioned in class.
Multiply both sides by 2. Now, here is a place where we could make a mistake, right? That 2 has to be multiplied times everything, right? Not just the x or just the 1 or whatever else. So that would be a place for possible mistakes. So don't make,
Multiplying by 2.
to get rid of the 1/2. Squared equals 2x. Well, that's the same thing, but yes.
Times square root of both.
Square root of both sides.
Square root of y squared is what?
Plus one.
What is that?
Graph.
Let me grab it. What does the square root parent function look like? It's a half a sideways parabola. This is a half of a sideways parabola on the top and the bottom, so it makes a whole parabola.
Yeah.
It's not a function because
It's a plus or
it fails the vertical line test, but you know, that's fine. Okay, how does this graph, a little bit tricky, it's more like a, how does this graph change the parent function. One part is easy and the other part is a little less easy, and so we'll see if we can find some good points that'll work. It what? Okay, so it shifts up 2, not up. It doesn't shift up. Which direction does it shift?
Left.
It shifts to the left. Remember, inside opposite, right? It's adding 2, so it's going to shift over 2. It is also dilated. It's a horizontal dilation. It's inside, so it's a little bit more confusing. We don't talk about horizontal dilation very much in Algebra 2. So it's going to be easier to kind of just pick some points and YOLO a little bit, right?
Wouldn't it be like this, like the same parabola as the 1/2 x squared? Just like
Yes.
ways?
Yes. Yeah, reflected over the line y equals x. Yes. That is graphically what an inverse is. So this one is going to go through, is going to have its vertex. I guess it is, I was going to put in air quotes, but it actually is a vertex at -2. We need a few other points to graph the thing.
We need the 2 other points on the side. Maybe 4 just to make sure.
How about like 2 more?
Yeah.
3, 1.
We already did -2, 0. Let's do a couple more. That's plenty.
1.
1 is a great idea. Why is 1 a great idea?
Because it's pretty.
Yeah, why is it pretty?
Because everything comes one itself.
We're getting closer.
Because
What's 2 plus 2?
2 is 4.
4. And what is 4 that's relevant in this scenario?
Square.
It's a perfect square. So we put a 1 in here and we get the square root of 4, which is 2. That's great.
Where did you go this one?
Is that a bell?
It was a bell.
That's like weird nostalgia.
Like an old.
Those of you who've gone to public or private school
That was exactly
other than
what I
homeschool are like probably having similar feelings.
I almost just walked out of my chair.
Usually the bells
Did
are
you
more
mean
vibrant
stand
than
up?
that.
That's exactly what I meant.
Walking out of my chair.
Walking out of your
That brain just didn't work. And then you can just mirror that on the other side. Right?
Well,
Unless we
you
did
just
it wrong.
reflect it over the
Yeah.
vertex.
Yeah, for the negative one, yes.
You just reflect it over the vertex.
Okay, what else could we pick?
No. Well, we could zero.
We could do 0. It doesn't come out pretty, but if we put a 3 in there, we end up with 8. We put a 4 in there, we end up with 10. No, just kidding. That's not pretty.
It was a fake guess.
7.
14 plus 2 is 16, which is a perfect square. Sounds great. Let's do a 7. 7 in there, times 2 is 14, plus 2 is 16, which means square root of 16 is
8.
square root. You said it so confidently. 4.
8, yeah, definitely 8.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. So right here and right there-ish. And then we have a little curved butt on it. And then we connect the dots. Great.
Yay.
That's exactly what it looks like. Not squiggly at all.
And the non-inverse would look like that, but just up.
Up and down. It's true enough.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, y'all know how to graph parabolas now. We did a bunch of that already, right?
Yeah.
Or am I dreaming that? We've done that, right? Yeah. In this class? Good.
You never learned.
Okay, well, better get after it. What else?
How do we find like the domains and ranges of a square root? Or,
What can x not be?
well, a negative. Or well,
The whole thing can't be a negative. So what expression would say that? What has it got to be?
X cannot equal negative something.
It's got to be greater than or equal to 0.
Because if it isn't,
Subtract 2, 2x. It's got to be greater than or equal to negative 2. Divide by 2. X has got to be greater than or equal to negative 1. How do we write that in interval notation?
so negative infinity to, oh no, it's like bracket, negative infinity.
Bracket negative.
It's got to be greater than negative 1. So what's the lowest number possible?
Lowest number is negative 1. So negative 1.
In a bracket.
In a,
And then to positive.
what about range?
Oh, this is wrong.
It is.
See, I knew that. It's because I was sitting there plugging it in my head, and I was like, that's the whatever. And it shift, yeah, because it doesn't actually shift by 2. It shifts by 2 divided by 2.
Just not one.
That's why my brain was confused.
So it shifts by 1.
It does, but like you don't even have to know that. Like, if I put a 0, no. If I put a negative 1 in here, what's 2 times negative 1?
Negative 2.
What's the square root of 0?
0.
0. Actually, it's right there, right? Which makes so much more sense. Look, now it actually has a rounded bottom,
As opposed to pointed.
like a proper one. Yeah, the horizontal shift, you have to divide by the b, which I wasn't thinking about because this is algebra 2. We don't usually see b's.
I did get it right, and then I didn't realize that was wrong. Okay.
And this will not be the last time I say this because it is an important idea. I will reiterate strongly that even if you forget everything, you can just shove enough points in there and know, if you know the parent functions, like kind of basically the general shape, and you just shove a bunch of points in there, you can graph it.
Doesn't matter what formula you don't.
I mean, it's going to take you an hour and a half and be a pain in the butt, but like, I shouldn't have anybody on a test or quiz or whatever be like, have an empty graph. Because you can always just start shoving numbers in and YOLO the rest.
And eventually it will work.
And then next year you get your graphing calculator and just pull up the table and be like, oh, it's these ones.
We did something.
What the love was that? That was like an evil Sean.
Yeah,
Can we do
it
one of
was.
the ones that has completing the square? Because I don't remember entirely how to do that.
Can we do one of the ones that has completing the square? What are you talking about?
Or we can just do.
Pick a problem and you're like, I was having trouble with this one.
But I don't have my homework with me. I don't remember which ones I got wrong.
I don't either.
Well,
Okay.
this is quite a predicament.
There isn't any completing the square on this lesson, are there?
I thought in the notes we had to do it to do one of the things to find something.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm not.
You did? Well, there you go. Oh, to put it into vertex form,
Yeah.
right? Probably, to make it easier to graph it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There aren't any like that. Except maybe 28.
Yippee.
But we could do 28
We
if
could
you
do
want to do 28.
No way, let's do 28.
Okay, let's do 28.
Let's do 28.
Why not? It looks fun. And by fun, I mean y'all might cry about it a little.
It's not that bad.
It probably isn't. It just looks scary.
People are scared of scary things, even though they're not.
statement made no
That
sense.
sentence didn't really it didn't really work out like you planned it, I don't think.
No, I planned it to sound stupid.
Okay.
Well, then you were very.
That's what everybody says when they mistakenly say something stupid. I meant to say that.
Stupid. I'm like, oh, yes.
You only say things that are stupid on dates that end in Y, though. That was the most stereotypically blonde reaction ever. Like, that's funny.
I
Okay,
had no idea what you said. I could not-
what should we do?
We should
Plug x
put it into
equals
the
X
y
equals
squared
y
minus
equals-
22y plus 1.
all the words.
We can skip a step and do x minus 120 equals y.
Then don't we have to do the y?
No.
I was just trying to decide whether it would be easier to complete the square first
Equals y.
and do it in that order. Probably would be, actually, but whatever.
It's too late. I wrote it
That
down.
y is
It's too late for me.
Okay, now what?
Subtract 120.
Complete the square.
What if it's factorable?
Imagine.
Is it?
By 2.
Well, it is.
No,
it's
not. It doesn't have a GCF.
It's not
It has
factorable.
a GCF. It's one.
Yeah.
You tried. You tried for an hour and a half and couldn't get it, or at least a minute and a half. Okay, so we're gonna subtract 120. Apparently, subtract 120. I didn't think that was a complicated sentence.
But I don't understand how it's going to work out. That's what I'm saying.
Well, we subtract it from both sides like we normally do, right?
Oh, yeah. We're just subtracting.
To solve for y. Right?
That is ultimately our goal, to solve for y.
Now you have to turn it into a square, into not a square and a square, and a square, square.
What are you saying?
I don't know.
She's going insane is what she's doing. Could you?
Now we find. Well, now we complete the square.
Now we complete the square. Sounds great.
Oh, that's what I said.
Negative 22 divided by 2 squared. What's negative 22 divided by 2?
11.
11.
No,
Negative 11. Or
negative 11.
11.
Squared is
121.
121. Now what?
Now we add 121 to both sides.
Oh, no. I'm just
So we end up with x plus 1 equals y minus 11 squared.
Yes.
Great. Now what?
Now we find the square root of both sides.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Sometimes I'll write my square roots so weirdly.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Sometimes I reverse the little point.
Add 11.
Add 11. Y equals plus or minus, well, let's actually write it this way. Plus or minus square root of x plus 1.
Yay.
So it's just the square root function shifted to the left 1 and up 11. And it's like easy money, right? Because and what I mean by that is there's no dilation, right? There's nothing multiplied times x or times the square root. There's no, so it's like the same as it always is, just moved over, right? So you go over 1 and up 11, and then you go up 1 over 1, and then you go up 2 over 4, and you can go up 3 over 9, right? Just like normal.
Then you gotta do the bottom one.
Yeah, and then the same thing.
But it's a point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you actually do it, you do a better job than that. But like when there's no dilation, when there's nothing multiplied times the x or whatever, it's just like the same as always.
Like an eye shape.
Just moved. An eye shape if your eye stretched to infinity.
Yeah. You like connected it.
It's like a weird looking eye.
You're so
What other questions do we have, kids? Let's take a quiz. Sounds great.
First quiz in
I don't think
1770.
I've taken a quiz in like a while. 78,000 years ago. You think I missed the last quiz?
Thank you.
Wouldn't it be 6-1?
No.
But he does it differently each time to confuse us. It keeps us on edge.
Thank you so much.
Make sure we're listening.
It keeps it interesting.